and welcome to Freight Logics Hub podcast, where we discuss historical developments in freight logistics in East Africa. I'm your host, George Kidenda. Today, I'm honored to have the Director General of Kenyan Maritime Authority, Omae Nyarandi, a man that I've known for quite some time, and we have had many occasions that we have worked together. I'm glad that he is the one who is sitting as the DG of Kenyan Maritime Authority. And the first question I want to ask Nyarandi, you won a case last year in court. What was the significance of that win for you as Kenyan Maritime Authority?
Thank you, George. As you are aware, Kenya Maritime Authority is governed by the Kenya Maritime Authority Act and the Merchant Shipping Act. And from time to time, we issue and prepare regulations in order to guide the industry. In 2024, after stakeholder consultations, MTO, Maritime Transport Operators Regulation was issued of 2024. Immediately after, some of our stakeholders, and especially the shipping line agents, went to court. The case stayed for 1 year, but the ruling was made in July last year, on which Kenya Maritime Authority won the case. But I want to explain the contentious issues that made these stakeholders go to court and what is the implications of this regulation. The first one is that any shipping agent in Kenya should have 51% local shareholding by Kenya National. Most of these agents you see here, be it Maersk Kenya, be it MSC, all the major ones are foreign owned. So this regulation is to bring home and have Kenya nationals holding 51%. The other one is on the staff. The senior management, the entire workforce, the foreigners should not exceed 10%. That means for every 10 employees, only one should be a foreigner. The next one is on training. In order to ensure that the local staff are trained, there is a particular threshold of training for the local staff on professional areas, especially that every year at least 60% of the staff should be trained. There are also compliance with introduction and review of the tariff. You are aware of the destination charges, which have been an issue, and therefore this regulation mandates Kenya Maritime Authority to look at those tariffs and issue guidelines. Any increase...
I think that one's an interesting one for me. That destination fee. Why would a shipping line that we have paid overseas for the services charge us a destination fee?
Okay, the way the shipping lines and agents work, that they wish to have the local franchise run its own services. Therefore, they have these fees. We have like the delivery order fees.
Yes.
Some of the charges that appear locally, including some of which, when Kenya Ports Authority reviews maybe their tariff that affect the shipping lines, they use these local destination charges to review their tariff. And what we are trying to do is to ensure that whatever increase or adjustment they make has to be approved by the regulator, which is Kenya Maritime Authority. And for us to do that, we have to benchmark and be convinced that these charges are warranted. And therefore, this regulation actually gave us those powers to look at all those quotes and any adjustment that can be made. Now you can understand why they went to court.
That's good.
Fortunately for us, we were able to win that case. Even after winning, they have made several appeals, including going to the ministries, going to Ministry of Trade, and trying to have us sit on the negotiating table. What we have done so far is to say some of the conditions, like the 51% shareholding for local, we have given them time to comply. Each of us, on applying for new license for 2026, we've had to tell us how you are going to comply with these provisions. There are those ones that we want to be immediate, including training of local staff and preparing them. There are some we have had to say, we can give you a number of years, maybe 5 years, to ensure that now you comply with the shareholding. Basically, those are the main tenets and challenges. But talking about these MTO regulations, they bring in the other actors, like the empty container handling facility. They bring in the clearing and forwarding agents. They bring in, under the regulation of Kenya Maritime Authority, CFSS. Therefore, going forward, we are going to ensure that we also register and issue license to these maritime operators, so that they are able also to comply with particular standards for the industry to make this industry efficient.
I think the question that we want to ask is this a generally accepted international practice? And if it is, why would the shipping lines coming to Kenya resist
it? Yes, before introducing this, we did some benchmark with some of the countries. The only one I could say is more ambitious, and that's where we are giving time for complying, is the one for shareholding. Some of the countries which have introduced this has been smooth, but for some, it has resulted in some discouraging investors. In terms you are going to a particular country and you require a Kenyan national or a country's national to hold a major shareholding, that means you should have known that person for a long time. You have traded with him. You have done business with that person. That needs time to implement. But some of these others, in terms of the tariff, in terms of the local component, in terms of training, in terms of personnel, these are standard. And when we have conversations with shipping lines, they don't have a lot of issues with these all others. The issue they have is about shareholding. And they feel that some of them have been here for a long time. To change the local shareholding and have a local own 51% might actually require a lot of time and a lot of resolutions from their parent companies.
Thanks. Now, regarding the seafarers, I think the law encourages the training of our seafarers with the aim of helping to get jobs, not only locally, but also internationally. Yes. I think sometime last year, there was I think a statement from the government that we are a free country, and therefore we will not restrict other people from coming into our sector. Then how do you then handle all these people that you are training to go into the sea and work in our ports, when the international shipping lines come with their own crew and work in our ports and do everything, and the people that we have trained remain jobless? How are you, as part of the government, handling that aspect?
Let me be elaborate in this, and I take this opportunity to also tell Kenyans that we have recently signed a recognition agreement with Singapore, which we did last week. And we will be communicating that to the public, including the recruitment agencies. We have also, in December, if you noticed, we also signed with Saudi Arabia. They can now recognize our seafarers. Now, it's unfortunate that as a country, we have a closed ship registry. Some of the countries that have registered many vessels are because they have an open registry. What we have advocated from Kenya Maritime Authority, we have engaged the government and we continue to engage them, and we are making progress. We want to have an hybrid between a closed and open registry.
Okay.
What we are intending to do is to ensure that we have many vessels flying the Kenyan flag. Without that, we stand at the mercy of these shipping lines. What we are encouraging and what we do, especially in our standards, we have ensured that the people we train as seafarers are up to the standard. We've had to collaborate with other countries like Denmark to ensure that our trainees are at the standard of any other international seafarer. With that, and with conversation we are having with the shipping lines, including when we are discussing these MTOs, is to ensure that they are able to give us space in their shipping lines so that we are able to take as many seafarers as possible. One of the things we are being hit currently, and we are solving it, is the issue of SID. This is Seafarers Identification Document. We have been trying to procure this for the seafarers. This is like an international passport for a seafarer, so that when he goes to any country, he's able to get out and be able to walk around. And this is really limiting our seafarers. We have recently did a tender which closed last week. We have the budget. We have done a tender which has closed. We are currently evaluating it, and we hope in the next few days we'll be able to start producing those seafarers identification documents, which are internationally recognized, and will make our seafarers move more freely and be able to be attracted to most of the shipping lines.
You have quite a number of Bandari training beaches. I think you have the Bandari in Mombasa, and some time back one was opened in Kisumu, and that is training. What is your plan with the lake?
Thank you. As we speak about Bandari is able to train diploma holders in both nautical engineering, nautical studies, and marine engineering. Nautical is those people who eventually become pilots for the vessels, ship pilots, and marine engineering are the mechanical aspect of the vessel. We have TUM, Technical University of Mombasa, which trains marine engineers, the same to JKUAT. But for them to be qualified, they have to do sea time. And they have, after that, to do oral exams. This is where the challenges begin. In our database, we have approximately 300 marine graduates who have not gotten sea time, meaning they cannot be able to operate and be on board of the sea, the vessel. We have, in the discussions we have had with the Saudi Arabia, and we've had recent discussion with Maersk and the MSC, we are entering into a partnership where we'll be able to absorb around 70 of those cadets every year from these 3 shipping lines, so that we are able to expose them and join the market. Now, apart from Bandari College, which gives these ratings, we have other smaller colleges. We have one in Kisumu, and even here in town in Mombasa, we have some which does these small courses, which especially convert those people who have gone to Italy to be seafarers, those who have done ratings on a smaller scale to be able to become seafarers. What we do as an institution is to ensure that the standards of training are at high level. The challenges we have, like Bandari Academy, is in terms of what they pay to the instructors. And this is a problem even also to Kenya Maritime Authority. A qualified marine engineer out there in the vessels or in the market, international market, they earn upwards of $10,000. To get that person to come and be an instructor or a lecturer at Bandari Academy is a hard task, because we are not able to pay such amounts. Kenya Maritime Authority started that training. They have taken cadets who have gone out and eventually trained them over time to become marine engineers and even qualified pilots. What happens when we finish training, we bind them for 3 years. They cannot move. But some, immediately after 3 years, they move and go. And therefore, we need, as a country, to be deliberate in terms of training and retaining this. Even in Bandari Academy, we need to be deliberate in getting even outside help to come and assist
So
us.
how do you retain them? How do you retain them?
It's easier is to get them the actual package that is competitive. And as KMA, we have had discussions with the SRC. We are slowly getting there. But we should not get there as KMA alone. We should get there as an industry. KPA
and that's why I want to take you back to Kisumu.
Yes.
Because I think in Kenya, when we talk about the coast, we only think of the coast in Mombasa, but we have a western coast, and we have a East Africa community where we can easily trade on the lake. And the ships, we have built 1 or 2 ships in Kisumu, but not significantly. What is barring you from promoting lake transport, more so when we are now talking about the SGR also reaching Kisumu, okay? And you know that if we do intermodal transport, rail and water, it is the one that is more affordable. What is your organization thinking about Kisumu?
I thought you were to tell me that we have been biased to Kisumu. Currently, if you have been to Kisumu, within the port, you've seen Kenya Maritime Authority putting up a big building, which is going to be the regional office, Kenya Maritime Authority regional office for that area. We have also gotten approval from government to also put outstations, one in Omae, one in Migori, Busia, and Siaya. And I thank the county governments because they have been able to give us free land. We've done designs. We are about to proceed. We are currently negotiating with the National Land Commission to be able to issue us with date audits. In that project in Kisumu, we have targeted this between now and July to train 3,000 seafarers.
Yes.
In the region. That is even in our performance contract, to train 3,000 seafarers in Kisumu in various areas. We have, in these regions, we are going to have boats, rescue boats, 2 of them in each of these locations. We have elaborate plan of Kisumu and its environment. And you'll also be aware that we are working in tandem with Tanzania because they are developing such a facility in Mwanza. They are also later we'll have one in the Ugandan side. But our Kisumu one is very much at the advanced stage. We have funds. We want, even yesterday, I was in Nairobi to discuss with Konza. What we want to do is to develop a mobile phone that is rugged and cannot be water resistant, that will have 1 or 2 features, like a panic button and a GPS, which every boat is going to be issued. Initially, we are issuing, before July, we are issuing 2,000 to particular boats, so that we start monitoring them and we are able to rescue them in distress. And this gadget will also be telling them about the weather patterns, so that they are able to know when they should go to the lake or not. That's just the gist of what we are doing in that region.
What about the water buses?
Now,
how is that being managed?
Now, I'm sure you have seen. We were there the week before last week. You've been able to see the water buses that are currently there. For us, as a government institution, we are looking at matters of safety and encouraging investment. And because we are also in terms of looking at safety in terms of the equipment, that's why we are encouraging the boats, even the canoe ones, that they are able to go out safely with the life jackets and others, and seeing how they can be skewed. For us, is to ensure that we have an environment that can attract the investors, together with KPA.
But
You've seen
what incentives are there for those who want to assemble water buses?
We register boat builders as Kenya Maritime Authority, and we look at the standards of what they build. And overhead, I could say that there is incentive in terms of tax if you do it locally, but I can't be able to tell you exactly how much.
I think we need to talk about these things, Madam Director, because as we talk about Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Kenya must plan to be competitive in the manner in which it will reach its markets. And there's no cheaper way than going by rail and water to get to those destinations. So thank you, Madam.
I was about to say, when you compare the cost of transporting the oil and fuel products from Kisumu to Mahati in Uganda, you find that there is a big saving in going by the lake.
By the lake, indeed, it is. But it has to be. It must be even environmentally safe.
Exactly.
We don't want the spillages in there, but we also want greater trade between the community states. Thank you, but that will be intra-Africa trade.
Exactly.
When we talk about international trade, Mombasa has not been trending very well.
Yes.
We have delays, we have congestion that is taking place, and a lot of stakeholders are still concerned that we've been talking about same problems year in and year out. In your view, what is causing this congestion, and what is the solution to the problem?
George, when you look at the throughput that was handled by the port in 2025, around 2.1 million, and compared to 2024, around 2 million, the difference is only around 100,000. That should not have caused what we have seen currently. Though when you compare the throughput in terms of month by month, there was increase starting around September, building to October, November. In my view, the challenges that have been experienced at the port could have been avoided if the stakeholders had worked as one unit. You brought the issue of what is the role of the CFSs, which from time to time, even when they were brought in to ease congestion. When we perceive that congestion has gone, now we have SGR, we have second container terminal, we kick them out. Now, what KPA did is that they concentrated more when the vessel upsurge happened in November going to December. They concentrated more on offloading on imports. When you offload and you finish offloading, you are given a short period to load the exports and empties, and you cut and run. You are told now you can leave. What you are doing, if you do that continuously for 2 weeks, you are creating a backlog on empties. Now, these shipping lines have empty container depots, and these depots have particular capacities. Nobody anticipated at that time around maybe July that this situation would arise. But we did warn And in this office, we held a meeting to try and anticipate what will happen. Now, as you cut and run, and you are building up empties, the empty depot starts filling up. Remember, when you bring a container, you go to a shipping agent. They'll give you a delivery order, which tells you that this empty, when you go to Uganda and come back, or when you go to Nairobi and come back, drop it at XYZ.
Indeed.
Now, by that time, they don't know this when you will come back. You will come back maybe after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So in the interim, these empty container depots are not connected to the shipping line. So the shipping line is not able to monitor the daily capacity and what's going on in. So by the time you come back, you find this empty container facility is full and you are a tracker. You start queuing. You are told this is full. By the time your clearing agent is able to get you the alternative, if there is any, you have spent 2-3 days with an empty container on the truck. Therefore, your truck becomes a storage facility. Now, these are vehicles that are on loan, or people are business to make money. When you are stopping there, you are not making money. Now, we immediately blame the shipping line. To us as KMA, we are seeing this as a whole supply chain problem.
It is.
Starting from when the vessel was waiting, when the vessel battered, when the vessel was told to cut and run, the fluidity within the port, because you can be given 24 hours to load your empties. If you had not pre-stacked them, to transport them from outside and they go through a gate system which is congested, you will, instead of doing 1,000 a day, you will only do 200. And therefore, KPA becomes agitated because you are occupying a part and you are bringing containers from outside.
But KPA's gates are the ones that are slowing people.
And even the documentation that to get that empty inside. And empty containers are an empty container. You don't need a lot of documentation. It's an empty container. Load it and go. Yes. So we have had a meeting.
So I wonder for the DG, why you create a blockage at the exit and at the entrance, simply because of, I don't know, physical documentation in a world where everything has gone AI. Okay.
Yes.
We are still taking hours to turn around containers.
Now we've had meetings with shipping lines, individual shipping lines, not even agents, individual shipping lines sitting down and they tell them, let's tackle this issue of the empties. In the temporary measure, can you get an extra space? Can you nominate a second empty container facility so that when they miss this one, they are able to go to this one? You can see when MSC was able to get extra space at Mitchell Courts. That was after sitting and making calls. Now, when we are discussing all this and looking at the fluidity, we should sit as a team. And you will realize, I don't know if you have been invited, KMA has invited the Commissioner General, KPMD, to sit with the stakeholders and under my chairmanship this Friday at Voyager to chat with and agree on how, because we have been saying as KMA, we have been given a lot of powers by the MTO's regulations.
Yes.
And we have not been able to use them because we have been doing diplomacy, talking to shipping lines, going to even empty containers to say, can we have a direct communication? Can we have your capacity on daily basis? Can you have this shipping line do this? We have been doing this. And we have created standards for even empty container handling facilities. We have created a better documenting system on how to handle empties coming from outside, how they should have dedicated gates, what size of space the port should be able to give the shipping lines so that they can be able to do consolidation before the vessel. We have had those discussions. We are sometimes up to tonight discussing them and how they should be implemented.
But DG,
yes,
I'm wondering, why we have that Mombasa stakeholders meeting, weekly meeting. It has been hinted that in a number of cases, the people who attend are not decision makers.
Exactly.
So they listen, they hear each other cry, okay,
Go to consult,
and nothing is done. How are these things being escalated to your levels? And
now,
how speedily do you then, at your level, meet to give lasting solutions?
I can assure you, for the past 1 month or so, I have met the KPMD on weekly basis, on Monday evening. And it starts at 4, ends at almost. And we go through some of the concerns. We've made some changes. Some of the directives that KPA and KRA have given have emanated from these meetings. But I'm sorry to say that the progress has been a bit slow.
It is slow.
And therefore, you can even see what happened recently when KRA shut their systems for upgrade for 36 hours.